What is up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. Today I'm going to be doing an album review on this new segment for the channel entitled Requested Albums. Now I know that is really basic of a title, but I just couldn't think of any other better specific name for this segment. So right now for this video I'm going to be doing the review on Sepultura's Arise. Now, this album was requested by one of my subscribers, Andy, as I said, formerly known as Mr. One Singularity, who watches and comments my videos, and thank you very much for the request. So, Sepultura are a band that, as I had said from my Chaos AD review, that they were one of the very first metal bands that I was really starting to absorb and connect with, and this is really no exception in this lineup. Technically, this is really the band's third studio album for this lineup, because on their album Morbid Visions there was a bit of a difference on the lineup change, but with this lineup on the Cavalera brothers, Max and Igor, Andreas Kisser and Paulo Jr., this is the band's third release in this lineup. So here are some facts that I've expressed in an audio commentary about this album. Arise is the fourth studio album by Brazilian-based metal band Sepultura. It was released to Roadrunner Records, which was the label on some of their albums earlier in their career, released on the 25th of March in the year of 1991. This is the follow-up to 1989's Beneath the Remains. It was produced by Sepultura along with Scott Burns, recorded inside Morris Sound Recording in Tampa, Florida. Andreas Kisser had stated that Arise, and I quote, took a lot of the same direction as their previous album Beneath the Remains. It was clear that their music had somehow changed. The sound to this album is still consistent on their aggressive tone, although this would be the first Sepultura album where they incorporate different influences with industrial music, hardcore punk, and Latin percussion, as well as non-metal acts like Nine Inch Nails, The Young Gods, and Ministry. Upon release, the album has been critically acclaimed. It was regarded by some longtime fans as Sepultura's finest hour. During the period, the album went gold in Indonesia, which was the band's first music industry certification, and at the completion of the tour, the album has been receiving platinum from its worldwide sales. Arise has always been a huge favourite for many of the fans, and obviously I would have to agree. While it's not for me their best album, but I always seek that Arise does have such a brilliant and a dark presentation on what Sepultura's instrumentation was like until they progressed into these later influences, arranging from their aggressive sound to putting in some more of their own homage to the sounds of music from their country at the time. It still sounds powerful and intense, a big glorifying, near perfect album. This album's artwork pretty much summarizes what you would like to expect in terms of just the heavier Sepultura releases. And obviously with many other bands throughout the 90s that were really growing in success, involving the change of sound from Megadeth to Metallica as well, and with many more of the bands in the grunge scene that has become really popular. A lot of the songs to this album are completely fantastic. The delivery on this record is simply amazing. The guitar tones sound really nasally in your face, and same goes with the drums. I mean, Igor, just one of my favorite metal drummers of all time, personally. And this album seeks out some of the best drumming. The brutality on some of his beats just defines the tensions and the enraged environment. The guitar solos were perfectly executed from Andreas Kisser, another fantastic, very underrated metal guitarist when it comes to some of them heavy riffs, along with Max Cavalera on his own riffing to the tone of his voice. And the production is simply amazing, done, as I said, from the commentary by the band and Scott Burns, but the mixing was done by Andy Wallace, and this was a really well mixed album. Andy would later on produce Chaos AD. Punishing riffs on this album really stand out, as that there was so much intensity, not only onto the raspy vocals from Max, but the instrumentation was simply a brooding atmosphere, especially when the band had used sound effects to synthesizers that keeps the darkness of this album going. This was really one of those albums where I find that it was one of the stronger albums in Sepultura's career, and I really don't mind the Derek Green period after Max had left. But when it comes to the golden era, obviously, it's just always the Cavalera brothers that many of the fans would cite as, the best of the eras. In a nutshell, Arise is simply a very great record that I would recommend for anyone that wants to dive into some of these really fast, technical, and abrasive heavy moments in 90s metal. I'm going to give Arise by Sepultura a 9.5 out of 10. Thank you very much to Andy once again for the request. That's really all I would like to say about Arise by Sepultura. And if you are a fan of the band, like myself, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.